Well, thank you, Mr. President, for sitting down with us in your home today.
Thank you.
We have a huge amount to get through, the campaign, policy, but I think I want to start off by saying, well, we now know that Vice President Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are going to sit down for an interview with CNN tomorrow. What are you expecting from that?
Well, I think it's crazy. She's gone months without talking to the press. She's not talking to anybody. She is copying, they would call it flip-flopping, on everything she's believed in for the last 20 years. She now says, well, she'll frack and, well, she'll do walls, but she doesn't mean it because she's a Marxist. I mean, she's absolutely a Marxist or beyond that. And nobody's ever seen anything quite like it. She's gone back on about 14 different policies all at once. Interestingly, a political historian I just left, we were talking about some things, and said, in history, on occasion, somebody will go back on one major policy and they'll change. She's gone back on every single thing she's ever said, which means that she's not going to do any of it. She's only doing it to get elected. And I think the public's not going to stand for that. Pennsylvania has to have fracking. She's never going to frack. She's going to have open borders. She's going to allow hundreds of millions of people into the country over a 4-year period. She'll have 100 million people coming in from prisons, from mental institutions. She doesn't believe in any of this stuff, which tells you from a character standpoint, it's terrible. I mean, she's so dishonest. She doesn't believe in any of it. She wants to have everybody having an electric car and you know, no more gasoline propulsion, no more hybrids. Every single thing, the Green New Scam, she was absolutely one of the people that developed the Green New Scam. They don't talk about the environment anymore. They don't want to talk about it because they know it's bad for them in terms of the voter. So they've come here. She came in with no votes. Biden, as you know, Biden got 14 million votes, and they said you're losing to Trump by 20 points and you're not going to win. The poll came out at 20 points after the debate. They said, you're not going to win, and Joe, we want you out of here. He said, I'm not getting out. They said, you're getting out. And they got him out, and he's very humbled, and he's frankly, he's a very angry man, because I know people that know him very well, and I know him very well. He's a very angry man. And she got no votes. She was the first one out, and now she's running. Think of it. Whether they had 22 people, nobody knows how many people. They had a lot of people running. She came in last, meaning she was the first one out. She never made it to Iowa. She got not one vote. A lot of people got a lot of votes. And she's the one that's running. But then she's doing something else. She wants not to do the debate. We're doing a debate, I think, but she wants not to. She'd love to get out of it, but she's not meeting any of the press. And it wouldn't have to be a killer like you. It could be somebody that's very friendly to her. And I guess she's doing that with Dana Bash.
Well, so tomorrow night, I mean, given everything that you've said about her policy positions, what are the specific questions you'd like to see Dana Bash ask her tomorrow?
Well, the first thing I want to do is say, why isn't it live? It's not a live interview. It's an interview that's going to be taped and then edited and then put out. So that's not even an interview. Then she's doing it with her vice president sitting there. So she's not very smart. When they ask her a question that she can't answer, she'll just look at him. You answer it. I can't imagine. Everyone's waiting for her to do an interview because she's been a very big failure on interviews before, as you know, a tremendous failure. And she brings in the vice president, who, by the way, isn't so good himself. He's been a disaster, this guy. He has been a disaster. His state is in a state of shock from his governorship. He's been a horrible governor. You look at employment numbers, you look at the people that are leaving, you look at all of the problems. Minneapolis is a burned down. They never built it back. It was terrible. He's been a terrible governor. It was a crazy pick. But he's sitting with her to help her out. So this is not the kind of a person we need as president.
What would you like to see the interview focus on? Her record in the administration, her record as a prosecutor?
Yeah.
What are there any specific things?
We could go on for hours, because she wanted to have people come into our country with open borders, and if they came in from jails, prisons, if they came in from mental institutions, if they came in as terrorists, it was all okay. They wanted free and open passage for millions and millions of people. I think we took in more than 20 million people during her reign. She was the border czar. Why is she denying that she was the border czar? Everyone knows she was the border czar. They called her the border czar. Now all of a sudden, 4 weeks ago, she said, well, I wasn't really the czar. But whether she was a czar or just in charge of the border, she was in charge of the worst border in history. I want to know what happened. Why was she doing that? Then I want to know why is she now all of a sudden, 2 days ago, she said, no, I'd like to build a wall after all. She was against the wall for 20 years. She fought me on the wall. She was one of the people that fought. I won 11 different lawsuits. I called it an invasion. I took the money. I built hundreds of miles of wall, but I had to fight her all the way. She wants to do no fossil fuel. She wants to have essentially no family should own more than one car, and it has to be electric. But they don't go far. They cost too much. And by the way, there's a market for electric cars, but it's not everybody. It's not for everybody. You have to have hybrids. You have to have fossil. You have to have gasoline powered, fully gasoline powered. We have more gasoline. We have more liquid. I call it liquid gold under our feet than anybody. She doesn't want to use it. But now she's switching all of this thing. Every single policy she's switching. She wants to have borders now. She wants to cut back on taxes. She was going to tax us out of existence. She was going to set a policy of pricing that would have sent us into a depression of 1929. It's never worked. 121 different times people have tried it. Leaders have tried it. It's never worked. And she got us into that. Now she's pulled back on that. She's pulled back on 14 different points and more, I think, that for years she was saying, we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to do all these different things. And the Green New Scam, she doesn't even mention it anymore. She doesn't, all she says is we want to have clean air, water. Well, that's what I've been saying for 8 years. I want to have crystal clean water, I want to have clean air, and I want to have a great economy. I don't want to use the environment to stop our growth and our economy. All of a sudden, she's saying that too.
So she's had three and a half.
But she doesn't believe it.
She's had 3.5 years to do these things. Is that your point? That's what you want to see?
Well, the thing is, and that's one of the points that I will make all the time. Do it. You can do it right now. You can close the border right now. She doesn't need legislation. You can close the border right now. You can do whatever you want to do environmentally right now. They had 3.5 years to do it. They never did it. They never did it. All of a sudden, about 2 weeks ago, they got a little bit tougher in the border because they have an election coming up. The day after the election, if they won, the border will be open. The whole world is going to pour into this country. We won't be a country.